Good morning, dear students. So welcome to another session of microwave and antennas. So in previous session, we started a discussion with respect to microwave network theory and passive devices. So in previous session, we discussed regarding what is microwave network and what is meant by a junction. Then we discussed regarding what is meant by ports at low frequency and at microwave or the high frequency range. Then what is the correlation of length and the wavelength at low frequency parameters? So that is what we had discussed, that is physical length of the network is much smaller than the wavelength, that is L is much lesser than lambda. So because of this, what happens is we will be able to measure the parameters, that is current and voltage. So how do we correlate these? We correlate these using the Z, Y, H and ABCD parameters. So then next we saw its matrix representation of the parameters and the two-port network. So this is the two-port network which is reflecting the microwave device. So this is the microwave network what they are representing. So after this, we discussed regarding how do we obtain the Z parameters and the Y parameters, or in general, the parameters such as Z, Y, H, and ABCD. So we make use of open circuit or short circuit analysis in order to identify the parameters. So then we also observed the conditions at which measuring the parameters such as Z, Y, H, and ABCD is difficult. So we discussed regarding these four conditions. So then what are the parameters which we will use for identifying or characterizing the microwave circuits? So we make use of the S parameters or the scattering parameters. So now let us look into the properties which are properties of the Z and Y matrices for the reciprocal network. So after this, we'll go in depth of how S parameters are represented and what are the properties of the S parameters. As we have discussed the Z parameters and Y parameters in matrix representation for a two-port network, it is represented over here. And in equation form, it will be represented in this form, that is V1 is equal to I1 into Z11 plus I2 into Z12. V2 is equal to I1 into Z21 plus I2 into Z22. And similarly, the admittance parameters is represented by the equations which are shown over here. That is I1 is equal to V1 into Y11 plus V2 into Y12. I2 is equal to V1 into Y21 plus V2 into Y22. So in these cases, Z11, Z12, Z21 and Z22 are the impedance parameters, and Y11, Y12, Y21 and Y22. So these are the admittance parameters. So these are associated with two-port network in which we are considering input voltage, output voltage, which is V1 and V2 respectively, and we have input current and output current, which is I1 and I2 respectively. So these are the input and output voltages, and the currents are related by these parameters. So what about the reciprocal networks? So in reciprocal network, what happens is Z and Y matrices are symmetrical. So that is what do we indicate is we see that Zij is equal to Zji. Similarly, Yij is equal to Yji. So that is what symmetrical network implies. So if I have Z12 for for a reciprocal network, we will have Z12 equal to Z21. So this is what identifies the reciprocal network. So for reciprocal networks, we have these aspects. So Z and Y matrices are symmetrical, and the junction media, they are basically characterized by the parameters which are M and E parameters, which are the electrical parameters which we'll be utilizing for the analysis. So these are the conditions under which we define the reciprocal network. And now, whenever we consider a multi-port network, say in general, if it is having say n ports, so then under that condition, we have Vn, which identifies the incident wave amplitude, and Vn plus, Vn minus gives you the reflected wave amplitude. So if I take summation of these two, I'll be getting the overall total voltage. So, and this is the voltage at port N. So at the nth port, the total voltage is given by summation of the incident voltage and the reflected voltage. So these are the incident and reflected wave amplitudes what we are considering. Now if it is a n port, this n value what is there? So it will be ranging from 1 to capital N what we are observing. That is the number of ports. Now here when we are considering this equation will be holding for all the ports except at the ith port where the fields are EI and HI. That is, this is the electric and the magnetic fields at the ith port. So similarly, we'll be having the total voltage equal to 0 for all the jth one in which the fields are EJ and HJ. So at many of the ports, so what happens is you will be having the total voltage which is given by the value of input and output voltages, and at the other ports where the field is different, we'll be having the total voltage which will be equal to 0. So now based on these aspects, right, that is based on these parameters, using the Lorentz reciprocity, we can write that the cross product of EI and HJ, that is ith and jth port when we are correlating. So we have EI cross HJ minus EJ cross HJ. When we take surface integral of this parameter, we obtain that it is equal to 0. So this is from Lorentz equation what we obtain, or Lorentz reciprocity theorem what we obtain. So now using this, we try to see whether we get the Zij equal to Zji or Yij equal to Yji. So this is based on the Lorentz reciprocity theorem. So based on that, when we continue, if yes, that is whatever parameter we are considering, that is the surface integral what we are considering. So this is actually the closed surface area what we are considering. Now this is since we are dealing with say microwave analysis, right? We'll be having the conducting walls which will be enclosing the junctions. So for this integration what we are considering, we'll be considering S as the closed surface area of the conducting walls of the junction. And the end ports in the absence of any source. So that is this equation we'll be considering when you're not applying any source and you're considering the closed surface area for the conducting walls enclosing the junction what you are considering. So here we had discussed what is actually meant by a junction. So junction is the interconnection of two or more devices. It is a point at which two or more devices are connected. So it is that what we are looking after. Now here what happens is when we consider the integral over the perfectly conducting walls, this integral turns out to be 0. So if the walls are perfectly conducting, then what happens is the integral what we are considering in this case turns out to be 0. That is, it vanishes along the conducting walls. Now in that case, what happens is we'll be having only non-zero integrals at specific points. So only at specific points we'll be having those integrals. So wherein that integral value will be non-zero. So therefore, when we consider those things, what happens is this equation gets modified to only the integrals where we have non-zero values. And since there are total number of n ports, right? So for that case, it turns out that it will be the summation of all the integrals of this parameter. So wherein the integral is non-zero. The integral is non-zero. So that is what we have. So therefore, the equation what we represent for the Lorentz reciprocity theorem, it turns out to be summation of n is equal to 1 to n. That is from for all the n ports. So it turns out to be 0. So when we take the overall summation. So now here we can observe that Tn is specified. So when we consider that, here we can have two parameters since we have EI and HJ, which are related to the ith and the jth port, as we have discussed over here. So here what we have is ETI is actually given by N into EI and ETJ is given by N into EJ. So these are 0 on all reference planes. So at the ports what we are considering as Ti and Tj, that is these values are equated to 0 or they equate to 0 at all the reference planes what we are considering. So yesterday we had specified, right, when I want to analyze this thing, we consider a reference plane. So with respect to that reference plane, planes, ETI and ETJ are all 0. So it is corresponding to the ports what we are considering at Ti and Tj. So when we consider that, what happens is this integral, the equation what we have over here, it turns out to be in this form, that is integration over the port Ti, that is a surface integral over the port Ti, Ei cross Hj, and integral over the port Tj, that is Ej cross Hi. These two will be equal. That is when we subtract both, we will be obtaining a 0. So this indicates that these two parameters will be equal. Now in previous sessions, right, when we're discussing the antennas aspects, so we had seen multiple things like power theorem and other stuffs. So it is again correlation with those aspects. What happens is we observe that power at port Ij, that is from I to J, it will be equal to power from port J to I. Now when we consider the admittance matrix, it is represented as I is equal to Y into V, where all of these are the matrices. I is a matrix, Y is a matrix, and V is a matrix. And we know that the power is related as P is equal to V into I. And since we have for the given condition, we have Pij is equal to Pji. So what happens is when I represent this with respect to this equation, that is, if I consider the representation of the admittance matrix in this condition, what I'll be having is I'll be having Vi into Vj is equal to Yij and Vj into Vi is equal to Yji. And when we simplify this parameter, what happens is we obtain that the admittance is Yij is equal to Yji. And since we know that Zij, when I consider, it is nothing but 1 by Yij. So if I substitute this over here, I'll get the admittance representation. So this is what represents the reciprocal network. That is, the property of the reciprocal network will be reflected with the Z and Y matrices. So for reciprocal networks, what happens is we have Yij is equal to Yji and we have Zji equal to Zji. So this is what happens with respect to the impedance and the admittance matrices for the reciprocal networks. So now let us move ahead and discuss regarding the S matrix or the scattering matrix. Now, as we had seen that in previous sessions, right, we discussed that we cannot utilize Z, Y, H and ABCD parameters for the microwave network representation. So what happens is it is because of the absence of the unique definitions for the voltage and currents. So that is what we had discussed. It is because again length will be very much say comparable or very much larger to the wavelength. So length will be very much larger to the wavelength. This is where the distributed network theory comes into play. So it is because of this parameter, and we don't have the equipments or the for measuring these parameters, that is the voltage and current parameters. Next we also see that obtaining the short circuit and open circuit, as we had to obtain for these cases for Z and Y parameters, it is not easy to go ahead with this. And because of the active devices also, what happens is when we try to make the circuit as open or short circuit, these active devices become unstable. So because of these, what we do is we go ahead with the S parameters. So which help us to identify the characteristics pertaining to the microwave network. So here we have the scattering or the S matrix representation considering a N port or a multi-port network. Now, before going into this, there are a few terms what we have to look out for. So what are those terms is, first, how do we characterize the microwave circuit? So when we consider, say, a general two-port circuit at low frequency, what happens is we can characterize it based on, say, the input voltage, output voltage, and input current and the output current. So these are the parameters which we can utilize to characterize this two-port network at low frequency. But what about high frequency networks at high frequency? That is a microwave networks. So in that case, what happens is we come across two parameters, that is, as we had discussed, incident and reflected parameters. So we need to consider these aspects in characterizing the microwave networks. So that is what we have to look out over here. So characterization of the microwave circuit is basically done with the help of the incident and the reflected wave amplitudes. So here, if I just consider, say this is a two-port microwave network. Now here what we have is, we can see that there are two parameters which they have specified, that is A1 and B1 and A2 and B2. So if you just observe over here, what we have is we have incident and the reflected wave amplitudes. So this is again incident and the reflected wave amplitudes. So along with this, a few other specifications like PI is the power at this port, then PR is the reflected power, this is the incident power, this is the reflected power, and the total power which is being delivered to the device is given by difference between these two, that is PI minus PR, where PI is the incident power, PR is the reflected power, and P naught is actually the power which is delivered to the load end. So these are few things what we have to consider when we want to do the analysis pertaining to the microwave network. So therefore, the characterization of the microwave network . Hello, Raman. So characterization of the microwave circuit is basically done with the help of the incident and the reflected wave. These incident and reflected waves are available, can be seen at different ports. So if it is a two port, at both the ports we can see. If it is an N port, at the N ports we can just observe these things. So apart from this, what we do is, when we are considering these amplitudes, we generally we consider the normalized values. So that is the incident and the reflected parameters. What we are considering is, we consider the normalized parameters. So when we consider these normalized parameters, and when we are normalizing these incident and reflected wave amplitudes, we normalize it in such a way that when we consider the square of those wave amplitudes, we obtain power in that wave at that port. So that is, we normalize these incident and reflected wave amplitudes, but the normalization is done in such a way that when you take the square of those normalized amplitude values, we obtain the power in that wave at the port what you are considering. So therefore, if I just consider that the input power at the nth port when we consider, it will be equal to magnitude of an divided by half. Now, why this half comes is, it is because we have, this is actually RMS relation. We have VRMS, which is given by V peak value divided by square root of 2. And when we take power, right, we have to consider the square. So when we consider the square, what happens is it turns out to be V peak square divided by 2. So it is because of this what we are getting half over here. And as I specified, this incident and reflected wave amplitudes, what we are considering is these are actually related to the voltage or the current parameters. So it is because of that what we are having the half, which is represented over here. So here we have input power at the nth port is P in, which is equal to 1 by 2 a magnitude of an square, and reflected power at the nth port is PRN, which is equal to half into magnitude of Bn square. So here An and Bn, that is it is this parameter, it is a typo error. So it is lowercase bn. These are the normalized incident wave amplitude at the nth port, and bn is the normalized reflected wave peak amplitude at the nth port. So these are the parameters what we look out for when we are dealing with the multi-port network at the microwave frequency range. So now in a given network, right, a two-port network, what we have say displayed over here, what we have discussed over here. So here we can observe we have A1, B1, A2, B2. So this is incident wave. This is also incident wave. This is the reflected wave, and this is the reflected wave. So A1, A and B represent the amplitudes, wave amplitudes. So that is what they represent. So this is the representation what they have specified. So when we represent the amplitudes, right, for the two-port networks, we can represent A1 as V1 plus divided by V1 raised to plus. This indicates that it is incident voltage. It indicates incident voltage divided by square root of Z0. And A2 is V2 plus divided by square root of Z0. So here why this is coming is, when we are providing input at this point, this again gets divided as incident and reflected. Similarly, at the output, you have the incident and the reflected parameters. So if it is at port 1, it will be V1. If it is at port 2, it is V2. So here we have the incident and the reflected parameters. So these are represented in terms of the incident and the reflected parameters. So here what we have is A1 is given by V1 plus, that is the incident voltage divided by the square root of Z0, where Z0 is the characteristic impedance. Now, when I represent this, so what happens is actually V1, that is the input voltage at port 1, will be the summation of V plus and V minus. So therefore, if I have to represent V plus, right, I'll be obtaining it as V1 minus V minus. So this is the representation. So that is what they have adjusted over here. So A1 in terms of incident or the reflected voltage parameters, A2 in terms of incident and the reflected voltage parameters. So similarly, B1 is actually related to the reflected parameter. So it is the reflected say wave amplitude at port 1. So this will be given by V1 minus divided by square root of Z0. So when I want to represent V1 minus, I can have it as V1 minus or V1 plus. So similarly, B2 we have V2 minus divided by square root of Z0. So these are the voltage, the wave amplitude representations of the parameters A and B for the two-port network what we have discussed. So this is all for today. In the coming fourth session, we'll be discussing regarding the next part, in which we'll be dealing with what is the representation pertaining to the microwave circuit. And there are certain equations what we'll be discussing with all these aspects. Okay, so this is what we'll be discussing. So this is all for today. We'll be meeting in the next session. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll end the meeting.